In today's video, we're going to talk about the Facebook and web version of my tier list.
It's only a game. Why you have to be mad?
What is up, heroes of Dominion? My name is Charlie. This is Hero War Central, and in today's video, I want to talk about tier lists. But before we get into the heroes and where they go, I wanted to first discuss my tier list, the different sections of my tier list, and what they're about. Give a little bit of context to the different categories because it's not a traditional tier list. A lot of tier lists out there rely on the S tier through D or F tier to show the different power levels of the different heroes. There are 51 heroes in this game in relation to each other. But in my opinion, that doesn't really tell enough of the story to advise on hero leveling choices. So my tier list has 6 categories that I feel is just the right amount. There are some tier lists out there that have too many categories and it just gets kind of hard to keep track of. And like I said before, comparing heroes based on power level in a rock, paper, scissors game just doesn't really work. So first of all, we have your favorite hero. Now, this is a pretty straightforward tier list. This is a game. And no matter what you do, you will never be number one in Arena, Grand Arena, Cross Server, Guild Wars, whatever. You're never going to be number one for forever. You will be for a while if you try really hard and spend a lot of money, but you won't be there for forever. So since this is a game, you should build a team around that hero that you fell in love with. Maybe your favorite hero is Heidi. Maybe your favorite hero is Kark like me. Maybe your favorite hero is Galahad or Kira or Qing Mao. Regardless of where those heroes land on my tier list and others' tier lists, you should build a team around that hero. Do your research and find out who works well with that hero, of course. But that is tier number 1. The next tier, this is the bugged and the do not level tier. Any hero that is incredibly weak, has bugged skills, doesn't currently work as intended. Maybe it's missing some things. Maybe it's about to get a rework. But this tier is filled with heroes that I would not recommend to new players because they're either broken, bugged, or they're just completely ineffective until they get a rework. And if and when they get a rework, we will change where those heroes are ranked in the tier list. The Universal Heroes tier list is kind of where things start to get a little crazy. The Universal Heroes section or tier or whatever you want to call it are those heroes that are strong enough to stand on their own as a hero to build a team around, and they can be plugged into any team. Okay, so think about heroes, support heroes, counter heroes, those type of heroes that provide utility and damage, and they can slot into any mage team, they can slot in any physical attacking team, and they can have teams built around them in order to be effective. There are not many, but there are some arguments in this tier for sure. And this is a combination. This tier, the Universal Heroes tier, or water bottle tier is what I used to call it, is made up of 2 sections that I have listed next. Next is the counter or utility only. Now, this tier is only made up of heroes that provide a specific utility. These heroes are brought into your team to counter a certain hero, a certain mechanic, a certain team on defense, but you wouldn't necessarily build a team around them. They're not strong enough on their own to merit building a team around, right? So they have very strong counter capabilities, very strong utility capabilities that you can level up on the side, maybe as a 6th or 7th hero to plug into your main team to perform a certain task, but they're not strong enough on their own to build a team around. On the opposite side of that coin, these are heroes that you must build a team around. These are heroes that don't fit into every team, that don't provide a ton of utility, but are strong enough on their own to build a team around. These are going to be most of your damage dealers. These are going to be most of your mages and warriors and marksmen. Those heroes that don't provide a ton of utility, again, they don't counter really anybody. They don't provide certain utility, but they are definitely strong enough to build a team around. And then finally, we have the Outland or Tower or Campaign only heroes. And this tier section is for those heroes that I wouldn't recommend leveling up for any other reason than to use against bosses or to use in the tower or maybe in the campaign. So that's a quick 4 to 5 minute explainer of my tier list. It's my opinion, again, 100% my opinion, let's get into the hero selection. There really is absolutely no reason to do a dramatic reveal, so here we are. Now, my favorite hero by far right now is Kark, but for the sake of the tier list, I'm going to leave him down there in the appropriate tier that he needs to belong into. But again, your favorite hero goes in that top tier. Build a team around your favorite hero. This is a game. Have fun with the game. Heroes that are bugged or too weak that I would not recommend leveling. Right now, Judge is in that consideration. I would also possibly consider Arachne. However, even with Arachne's strange skills and glyphs, I did a video on that a couple of days ago. Even with her strange setup on Facebook and web, she still does counter some heroes pretty effectively. She's just going to get so much better if and when she does get that rework. So for now, we're going to leave her down in counter heroes. And with Corvus, I made a video a couple of days ago about how he is he's the worst or the second worst hero in the game. I do feel like he has probably the most potential out of all of the tanks. So I left him out of here as well, but just know you absolutely have to build a team around him. When it comes to universal heroes, these are all pretty much no-brainers. These heroes fit into every team. You can sub them in and out. The first handful are pretty obvious, and when we get over to Satori, that's where we start to see some of the arguments come around. So Satori is an effective counter hero, and he can also be a pillar hero to build a team around. So that's why he's here. Sebastian can be used in literally every Facebook team because he cures all debuffs. And Vari, no question there. Astrid and Lucas is another big question mark. I think Astrid and Lucas brings enough utility and brings enough oomph that you can both build a team around her, and she can fit into any team to provide a little bit extra tanking, a little bit extra stunning, all kinds of fun utility things there. And that's why I feel that she belongs. She could probably slide down into counter or utility only, which we'll talk about here. Now, Phobos is in this tier on Facebook and web because of his most recent rework. Countering high physical attack heroes is the name of Phobos's game. A lot of these are, again, pretty straightforward. Leon was one that I struggled with heavily. Leon is a fantastic hero. She does a great job countering area of effect damage from Kira, from Lars, in some cases Kark, and she could potentially have a team built around her, but I feel that her use as a counter hero is incredibly outweighing her use as a pillar hero, and comparing her to a hero like Astrid and Lucas, the Astrid and Lucas focused teams are just exponentially better than any of the charm single target teams, which I don't feel have ever proven to be successful. That's why I feel that she's here. Rufus with enough investment can arguably be one of the best overall tanks in the game, but he is designed to counter mage teams, so I put him here. Qing Mao, designed to counter tanks with high armor and high health, could potentially be a primary damage dealer, but for the sake of this tier list, I wanted her here. Dark Star, low damage output, but fantastic control. Chaba could be a universal hero as well, but I feel he's better at taking enemy tanks out of the fight, so that's why I left him here. Morgan needs Undead really to be successful. However, you really want to use her to counter Astaroth and Rufus, and we've already talked about Arachne a little bit. So then heroes you must build a team around. A lot of these are pretty straightforward. Again, these are your primary damage dealing heroes that don't just slot into every team, unless of course you're looking for more damage output. And everything is good until we get to about the Corvus section at the bottom there. Now, Corvus absolutely needs to have a team to support him right now. Whenever he gets another skin, he probably will become a universal hero. But for now, you need to build a team around him in order for him to be effective. Luther can kind of go either way, but still, since he leaves the front lines and jumps into the enemy team, you still do need to build a hero in the second position that can take a couple of hits while he's gone. Daredevil was a big question mark for me as well. She got a rework, but not the same rework that the mobile version did, and she's kind of trash on Facebook. But there are some teams that use her to some success as a damage dealer, so she's here. Ginger is also borderline too weak for me to recommend, but I know she's going to get a rework soon. You still can build a team around her as a physical damage dealer, so I'm going to leave her here. And the final argument that everyone, and this is probably the most controversial pick out of the entire tier list, Maya being here. Some people think Maya is a great healer. She does do great healing. However, she's more of a mage and more of a control than she is a healer, and I feel as though you need to build a team around her skill set in order for her to be effective, and that's why I put her here. Now, Mojo's an interesting choice. I did put him in the player versus environment only. He's incredible against all boss fights. He's really good in the tower, in the campaign, and Outland, but I don't feel he's strong enough to build a team around. Of all of the damage dealers, I think he's one of the weakest damage dealers to build a team around. I know that you can, but I really want to stress that this is where I fit him and not in a team that you need to build. I'm sorry, not in a team where you build around him. So that's it. That's my Facebook and web hero tier list discussion video. I'm pretty excited about what I've done here, and I will link at the end of this video a mobile version of my tier list discussion for you guys to check out. Thank you so much for hanging out and talking through this with me. Those of you that were in my live stream and watching this video now, like I said, I have that mobile video posted. I also have a nice Titan tier list video that I want to share with you as well. That's going to be posted here also. Check those videos out. I'll see you there. I love you all. Good luck in Dominion.